Original Somusuji reaction. This is why are Russian helicopters shooting up at the sky? Well, I don't know what you think. I didn't know this was a thing. So what, Russian helicopters just shoot at the sky, can't shoot front or below or something? That's absurd. So they just line up perfect sights so that they can shoot up. It's like playing GTA. Somehow you're playing got damaged and you have to like improvise. I've done that shit. Yeah. Seriously didn't know this was a thing. I mean I'm thinking there must be a reason they specifically do that, but it's not because they can't shoot down or straight, right? I don't know. History shows that there is no shortage of strange aircraft maneuvers to deliver a deadly punch. Oh, wait a minute. So they must have one specific type of rocket or something that can only shoot up or something. That is like really deadly. Is that it? Okay. Yeah, not what you think is like a great channel. That's the point, right? Whenever the title comes, it's like, it's not what you think, which is like great. Somehow he always finds a topic where he can say that. And yeah, his videos are really high quality, so that's why it's fun. Remember, if you like my Rick Sandro, subscribe. So I know we start videos today tomorrow. Check out the Rick Sunday. This is the link in the season. And yeah, that's what it.
When was the last time you saw an airplane carry a bomb almost the size of its fuselage, climb up at a steep angle, then toss the bomb up mid-air and fly away? If you haven't seen this maneuver recently or at all, it's because the 1950s was a long time ago. Except for a similar unusual technique has been observed during the current Russo-Ukrainian war, where helicopters quickly pitch up, shoot a salvo of rockets and fly away. Maybe they're trying to shoot down Starlink. But why toss bombing techniques were developed in the 1940s and 50s in the first place, why they're not used anymore, and the real reason those Russian and Ukrainian helicopters are shooting rockets into the sky is not what you think. Back in the 1950s, airdropping a nuclear bomb was easier said than done, especially when you had to consider two things. First, you want the bomb to accurately hit the target, and second, you want to make sure the pilot has enough time to escape the nuclear blast. But accomplishing both at the same time posed a challenge. In order to improve accuracy of the impact, the airplane could fly close to the target at lower altitude and drop the bomb. But that wouldn't give the pilot enough time to escape the nuclear blast which moved.
I mean, during a nuclear bombing, is accuracy that important? You're supposed to throw that bomb in a general direction because it's a nuke. How much accuracy is going to help? I mean, come on.
At supersonic speeds. Alternatively, the airplane could drop the bomb while flying at the upper end of its flight ceiling to keep the pilot far away and safe from the nuclear blast. But that would compromise target accuracy, so a different approach was needed. An aircraft in horizontal flight would find accurate bombing somewhat challenging. The bomb has a significant forward momentum, moving at the same speed as the airplane that's carrying it. But shortly after being released, the forward component quickly decelerates due to the drag from the air, which results in a complex pseudo-parabolic trajectory for the bomb. A pilot by themselves could not execute this maneuver accurately. This is why, even as early as World War I, bomber airplanes would dive down toward their targets before releasing the bombs. Diving down at a...
I mean, a carpet bombing, I guess it's in the name, right? It's not an issue. But yeah, if you dive down, there is less forward movement than you would have otherwise. There's still forward movement, but it's lesser. So you can kind of like aim it, I guess.
45 to 80 degree angle minimize the horizontal velocity component. Upon releasing the bomb, gravity simply increased the bomb's speed along its nearly vertical trajectory until impact. This is why dive bombing allowed for accuracy without the need for complex calculations. But there was a downside to dive bombing. Heading in a straight line directly toward a heavily defended target made the dive bomber vulnerable to low-level ground fire. But toss bombing mitigated this problem by tossing...
What was that, NES game? I think NES game. 1942 or 1945, right? That is the game I'm thinking. Like NES game, right? A really old, like 8-bit or whatever. I'm pretty sure I remember that. Where a plane just flies and suddenly becomes stable and comes towards you. That's when you shoot it or something.
The bomb forward, kind of like an underarm throw of a ball. Of course, onboard computers were required to help the pilot with the correct angle of climb and the exact time to release the bomb. This allowed the aircraft to bomb an area without the need to fly directly over it, which was ideal for heavily defended targets. Toss bombing also significantly increased the time between the moment of release and the moment of impact, and that extra time allowed the pilot to get away, which was especially useful in case of a nuclear bombing. A bomb tossed upward at 510 miles per hour would continue to rise for about 23 seconds and fall for about the same time. This would give the airplane over 40 seconds to turn itself upright and run for safety before the bomb exploded. This maneuver was known as over-the-shoulder bombing. The US Air Force referred to it as Low-Altitude Bombing System, or LABS, and the pilots called it the idiot's loop.
Over the shoulder, as in like, there you go. That's basically it.
To start the idiot's loop, the pilot would fly low as they approached the target. The pilot would then turn on the LABS switch in preparation for the maneuver. The LABS apparatus had all the information about the target and would signal when the pilot should pull up to vertical position. This sharp ascent generated 3.5 to 4 Gs.
Look at that. It's like Commodore computer level shit. It's insane that whatever computer that plane has, nowadays like simple watches have higher computer count than that.
Interestingly, the pilot didn't decide when the bomb would be released. By turning on the LABS switch, the pilot had already consented to release the bomb, but it was the LABS apparatus that released the bomb at the exact time, tossing it up and backward toward the target. This maneuver was first publicly displayed in May of 1957 at Eglin Air Force Base with the help of a B-47 bomber. However, after some experimentation, it was determined that the G-forces stressed the B-47's frame, causing cracks in the fuselage. But none of this is relevant anymore with the rise of...
B-47 is a fucking like B-52 precursor. I'm guessing like a bomber, right? It's not supposed to do those kind of maneuvers.
Precision-guided munitions after World War II. Today's surface-launched and air-launched guided missiles can target areas from much greater distances and with much greater accuracy, eliminating the need for such complicated and risky maneuvers. But what about those helicopters shooting at the sky? There are a variety of theories as to why such strange maneuvers are being performed. It's safe to assume that these rockets are unguided. Firing guided rockets at these quantities doesn't seem feasible. Some have referred to this technique as lofting, which is another name for toss bombing. But toss bombing is based on the physics of the bomb following a predictable parabolic trajectory. Rockets also have a trajectory, of course, but given...
I think they are trying to not fly too high to get caught by radar, but they're like trying to angle it so it travels a long distance, right? That could be the thing.
That they're propelled and their burn rates can vary, predicting their trajectory in this manner is practically impossible. Unguided rockets like the 80mm S-8 are direct-fire weapons, meaning that they need to follow a straight line to the target in order to hit it with accuracy. Launching them on a parabolic trajectory will ensure they fly farther, but where they end up is far from targeted. It's true that both the Ka-52 and the Mi-28N have relatively sophisticated fire control systems, so it is possible that the crew can use their weapons computer to provide the angle and release rates required for a particular target location. But since the rockets remain unguided during their flight, and given their longer flight path, even small drifts would greatly degrade their accuracy compared to a direct rocket attack.
They might be winging it.
From the US Army Foreign Military Studies Office, Russian helicopters carried out similar attacks during their first campaign in Chechnya between 1994 and 1996. They would launch S-24 unguided rockets with a pitch-up maneuver, which increased the range of the weapon by 6 to 7 kilometers. This allowed the pilot to fire without entering the kill zone of the air defense weapons of Dudayev's forces. What's obvious is that both sides seem to be reluctant to get too close to one another. Getting within the kill range of the opposing side's air defenses could end up poorly for these pilots. So in an attempt to hit something,
I mean, it's mostly just like, like generally attacking area rather than targeting something. And they're trying to put pressure on Ukraine, I'm guessing. So they don't have to worry about hitting one specific area. They're just hitting anything. Basically, carpet bombing type of shit. Just like hit anything at that point.
they are pointing their helicopters up and shooting at the other side, almost acting like an airborne multiple rocket launcher, but with very little accuracy. An artillery lottery, if you will. The fact that they eject flares after shooting the rockets and quickly turn around seem to further confirm their fear of being shot at by manpads or other weapons. If it is in fact true that these unguided rockets are simply being fired at a fairly indiscriminate way, they could damage unarmored military vehicles or personnel, but they could also be destroying non-military targets, which is concerning. Indiscriminate bombing, where the attack fails to distinguish between military objectives and civilians, is prohibited both by the Geneva Convention Additional Protocol 1 and by customary international law. Under the Rome Statute of the International Criminal Court, they constitute a war crime. But more importantly, if Russians started doing this indiscriminate rocket fire first and continue to do it, does it then justify Ukraine retaliating in a similar indiscriminate manner? What do you think?
Eye for an eye doesn't work at that level, right? Oh my God! First of all, Geneva Convention. Really, you're gonna say that to Russia, Putin at this point? They don't give a shit. There's like a arrest warrant. Like, sure, Putin's gonna turn himself in. Like, convention at this point, they are not adhering to that. Not at this point. From the start, look at all the clip from literally the day one. Oh, they mistakenly hit some building. No, wait, that was no mistake. They deliberately just like carpet bomb the shit out of things. They don't care. They don't care where it hits. They don't care which civilian area gets damaged. They just have to play like, oh, wait a minute, there was a mistake. So people don't get pissed off, I guess. But right now, they're trying to put pressure on. So yeah, they'll do anything. That's what's happening. They're just attacking. Right, well, there was wire Russian helicopters shooting up at the sky. Watch out what you think. If you like my reaction, subscribe. And yeah, I'll see you next time.